Well, the computer is telling me we're live. So we're live here for September. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm just looking at the camera now and I'm seeing that I'm looking a little bit rough today. Sounds about right. For the first time, and I can't think of how long, I actually slept in this morning. Now, normally a sleep in for me is like 7 o'clock. I'm always up super early. If I sleep until 7 o'clock, I've had a good sleep in. Today I got up at 10:30 in the morning, and I went to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. So almost 12 hours. So very clearly I was pretty burnt out. There's no way I'm going to stay in bed until 10:30 in the morning unless I am in rough need of sleep. So yeah, a little bit not awake yet. I was hoping to have been on the bank this morning with Zane, but as I said, I slept in until 10:30, and I go upstairs and find out that he's still out cold. So we're not on the bank today, which was the plan, which didn't happen. Galen, ONT Carpin, good to see you there. Clint's in the chat. The Pack Bait Ballas. It's good to see everybody popping in there. Happy September, I guess. I almost forgot that this was a live stream week, but we have Doug to thank for that. I got a message from Doug the other day that I think it was last week. He's like, "Is this the live stream week?" I'm like, no, Doug, it's next week. And then I realized, oh crap, it's next week. So this is kind of like a busy weekend for me. I've got a lot of running around to do this afternoon. And like every night this week, I have a mountain of stuff to take care of because we're getting ready for the annual CCS social that's coming up starting next weekend. So just want to jump right into that here. There's Doug. You guys all have him to thank for me remembering that it's this week. So yeah, as I mentioned, next weekend is the annual CCS, Canadian Carp Society social that we do up on the St. Lawrence. The last few we've done have been incredibly successful, incredibly fun, a great opportunity for all of us to meet up with one another and hang out. Now, if you are a Canadian Carp Society member, this is for members only. We've had a contest running this week, pretty much all week, and it closes tomorrow. So if you are a CCS member, or you want to just jump in and join up now for this opportunity, there is a contest going on for your chance to win a ticket to the social. Now, obviously, you have to be able to attend the social. It's not running your traditional weekend. It starts on the Sunday, September 22nd, and runs through till Tuesday the 24th. So everybody turns up on the Sunday, 1 o'clock-ish, and you have all of Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening for socializing, getting your lines out, setting up camp at your peg. We have all day Monday for fishing. We have the giveaways, the big barbecue that we do. Lots of opportunities for people to talk to somebody that you haven't been able to interact with yet, or if you want to learn something from a more experienced angler that's there. You get all that you can get in on the Monday. It's a great opportunity for that. And then the Tuesday morning, we all hopefully wake up to have had a few fish, have a nice slow pack down, and a little bit of a get together at lunchtime right before we all depart the campsite. So it's a really good time, and the last couple socials have been quite memorable. Last year we had duck hunters shooting in our direction and the spray falling down around our rod pods. The year before, this sudden storm come up in the middle of the night and blew my bivvy off and flew it into a tree. And Kevin and Chad out in the canoe in like 2-foot waves, picking up their their H blocks and dropping rigs. It's just craziness. Yeah, the year before that was just fantastic as well. So like we've had some really good socials so far. And yeah, like I said, running this week, we have an opportunity that the Angler Files is sponsoring a ticket for someone to get the chance to go. So as long as you are a Canadian Carp Society member and you have the opportunity to be at the social for those dates, go on the CCS website, go into the competition section, and enter the contest. Now, if you are a member and you are already attending, so you've already bought your ticket before the contest come up, we're also putting in a chance to win a guest ticket. So this is the non-angler ticket. It's something we offer for people who want to be at the social but aren't so much worried about putting lines in. They just want to hang out with everybody. Or maybe it's somebody that doesn't typically fish as much, or just wants to take in that opportunity for learning from others and the socializing and such. Guest ticket opportunity available for somebody who already has a ticket but wants that chance to win that bonus there. The contest closes at 6 p.m. tomorrow, so you've still got a chance. What an opportunity. If you can make that social event, if you can make those dates. I keep pointing like this. I'm pointing at my other screen because that's where I have all the information up. If you could actually make those dates and be at the social, and you're not yet a Canadian Carp Society member, but you want to go, join up. Join up, enter the contest, see if you got a chance to win. If you don't win, you still don't lose because you're now a member. See how it all works out? Everybody wins. There are still tickets left available for purchase as well. So if you don't win the contest, you could still buy a ticket and go. Ta-da! So it could all still really work out quite well. Worst case scenario, worst in this whole situation of awesomeness, the worst case scenario is you're still a member with all these great people, all these great anglers, all this great information. Just get in on it. See what else we got going out in the chat here. Clint's heading out tomorrow. Awesome. I want to know how you do. Make sure you give me an update. I'm not fishing tomorrow, so I expect pictures. There's Dougie. Galen can't go because he couldn't get the time off work, which, you know what? I'm going to throw this at you, Galen. You did say last year that nothing will keep you from the social this year. You did say that. So if you couldn't get the time off of work, I understand what that's like. It's crap. But you did say nothing would keep you from going. And this is coming from a guy with 2 very small children and a cool wife. So if you're saying you can't go and you're using work as the excuse, I expect better next year, Galen. I do demand that you are there next year. That's just how I'm putting it. Same here for Doug. Yeah, I know it's tough to get the time off work given the dates that they are this year. But this was the dates to get us the opportunity to get this whole kind of peninsula, this whole half an island for this year's social. You know, it gives us a lot of free space with nobody else around. We should not be running into duck hunters this year. And it's a known hotspot. It's a known good spot for carp on the St. Lawrence on Hoople Island. So we have a really good chance. I forgot to turn the volume down on my phone. Really good chance for getting into some decent fish. You know, as long as we're catching fish, that's great. You know, what's better than having a big social with a bunch of anglers? You're having good food. We got the beers flying because Tyler from NiagaraFishing.net sponsors the beer for the barbecue and whatnot. So, you know, pounding back the beers and the burgers and doing the prize draws. A couple fish thrown in the mix is just a bonus, but it's an awesome bonus. So yeah, it's really going to be a good time. Dave and I will be there. We will be filming. If you haven't seen the films that we've done so far from the CCS socials, go over to the Canadian Carp Society YouTube channel after this. And the last 2 films that we've done from the CCS social are on there. Originally done for CCS TV, but we released them separately so people can get an idea of just how much fun these socials are. We might be filming things a little bit different yet this year. We're not quite sure. We were talking about it a little bit last night. There's a lot of different ways we could go about filming this. Filming the social is a lot of work, and it takes away from actually like having the time to just sit down and chill out, because once the fish move in, those rods start flying. Dave's running this way, I'm running this way. Last year, Dave was running all over the place. And then when he conked out and was out cold in bed, somehow my ears kicked in and I was hearing bite alarms from like 60, 70 yards away. And I would go running in the middle of the night down to film, Carl, because he just hooked something and went out in the boat to get it. It's draining to film the socials, but the end result, when you get to see the video and see how much fun everybody had, really is spectacular. So the cameras will be rolling while we're there. We're just not sure what the end results will be. So it could be interesting. Doug, the St. Lawrence is a long bike ride away. It is. But you know what? That would be an adventure. You start in June, you pedal your way up to the St. Lawrence in time for the CCS social. And then you have, gas money to pay somebody to drive you back home. Drazen's in the chat. Good to see you there. So yeah, we want to make sure that everybody has that chance. The contest that we have going on all this week that ends at 6 p.m. tomorrow. If you're a member, get in there for a chance to win a free ticket to the social. You just have to be able to attend those dates. If you've already bought your ticket, enter the contest anyways, you got a chance to win a guest ticket. It's a good chance. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Oh, excuse me. You can't have a normal sit here, and I just can't be a proper presenter. Too busy sneezing and coughing. Oh, that's my first coffee this morning. It feels so wrong. Normally I have 3 extra large coffees in me by 7 o'clock, 7:30. Sleeping in today has really messed me up. Yeah, Doug, you get home by first snowfall for sure. Yes, Galen's right. Fish along the way. Fish your way up there, fish your way back. So I haven't been fishing much, but I'm kind of getting set up. Like I've got a few pieces of gear here for the social, some new stuff for the match fishing. There's a couple rods back here I'm going to bring out that haven't been out in quite a while. They're going to be getting some use potentially tonight, but more likely in the next few weeks. Just getting the time to get out on the bank has not been easy lately. I do hope you all did enjoy the last video we put out, fishing the Upper Niagara River, testing out the grips hooks from Palatrax that we have Galen at ONT Carpin to thank. I do hope you guys all enjoyed that video. Oh, there's Tim. I could have swore I saw Tim in the chat. Tim is there. Good to see you, Tim. So yeah, that was a really fun video. The whole session was awesome. The session was just, rock up and see what I could do. The spot I wanted to fish was too overgrown. I always carve myself a little space every year out of this one spot that I like to fish in September and October. And I just hadn't been back there since last October. And so there was like, it was all just filled right in. The growth in the spring must have just been insane. So I ended up coming up to this other swim on the Thursday evening. I had a smash fest. I had like 6 runs, but I only landed 3 of them. So I kind of had a bone to pick with that spot, which is why we went back, or I went back that Saturday or the Monday morning. You know, it was great that Dave was able to turn up and just smacked a bunch of fish, had a really good one, 28 pounds and change. That storm that pushed through just south of us turned out to be the result of 2 different tornadoes that touched down within 5 kilometers of where we were. It was absolutely insane. We had no idea until we had gotten home that they were actually tornadoes. Just absolute insanity. But the whole session was just so much fun, and being able to kind of edit that video together and kind of watch it again and see how that all played out was a good feeling. That was the fun kind of video that I really like to put out there. And Dave and I kind of huddled into the van with the banter back and forth. That made it that much more fun. So really do hope you guys enjoyed that video, because I really enjoyed that video. But speaking of grips hooks, I was impressed. I was very impressed with these hooks. And hooks don't impress me that often. You know, you guys have seen me try out different hooks over the years and kind of see what my results were. A couple years back, I did a short video about what I think the best carp hook is out of the ones that I've used and the ones that I had on me at the time. So if you haven't seen that one, you can go back in the catalog and see that what was the best carp hook. Having only used these on 2 sessions now, or one and a half sessions, we'll say, I can't make a proper judgment on the grips hooks yet, but I am very impressed by them. And Galen's been kind enough to actually send me a few more. So we used the wide gape and the curve shank in that video. The curve shank clearly bringing in just a ton of fish because it had the right color bait. It turned out that it wasn't a flavor thing. It wasn't a spot thing. It was a color thing. They wanted that washed out pink, because I tried the superfruit in orange and they didn't touch it. They wanted the washed out pink superfruit flavor. Banana, pineapple just wasn't doing it. Green Beast didn't do it. Silt Busta had the 28, but it was the washed out pink superfruit that had all the bites. So I think had I put that on the wide gape hook, would have caught more on the wide gape. We do have the chod hooks, but I haven't used those yet. I'm going to tie some of them up into chod rigs. But Galen sent me, I got a little envelope the other day addressed to Lord Meatball Awesome Sauce, which is me. And this pack was the surprise. These were actually a request. So these are the Palatrax Grips straight point hooks. I don't know if I can get one to kind of separate from the group, but you can have a look at those. The blurriness. So these are the straight points. These are size 2. These are big hooks, but I have spots where I can use big hooks because big fish. I'm not a fan of straight point hooks usually. I remember a few years back, I bought the Ridge Monkey straight point hooks. They were like, I had never seen a hook that sharp. They were mega sharp. Just the Canadian winter wind on those things bent the points over. They were just not good hooks at all. Not for fishing in Canada. These hooks actually remind me very much of they're not available now, but Monster Carp Tackle used to do a maximum power hook. It was like a heavier wire, hard straight point. Like, they were a tough hook. That's what these seem like, just without the barb. So I do have a couple rigs that I can use these. So I'm going to try these. Probably with some really big baits. Like, we're talking like big snowman rigs, 18, 24 mil boilies. We'll give these a shot. Now, these ones, let's see here. We got, oh man, we got some, these are all wide gapes, I believe. So we have size 12, size 14, oh, 10, no, 12s. Okay, we got 12s, we got 14s, and we got 16s. And I requested these from Galen because I didn't know if these grips came in these small sizes. So there's your 16s, your 14s, and your 12s. I wanted these for match fishing. The hooks that I'm using, that I'm buying on these pre-tied float rigs for the pole, I must have moved the pole. It's been here for 3 months. Oh, yeah, I hung it up with the rods in the other room. Freaked myself out there. I completely forgot I moved it. The barbless hooks that come on these rigs, it's hard to find the ones with barbs on them. They work. You know, I've been catching fish with them in the matches. A little bit better when I'm not in the match and going up against somebody like Justin. They're good hooks on those rigs, but I wanted something that had that little bit of an edge. And if I can't have a barb, I was impressed with the Paddle Tracks hooks for big fish. I wonder if it'll be the same thing for small fish. So Galen was very kind enough to throw these in an envelope and send them my way for me to try out in the match fishing part of things. So I'm looking forward to that. And I now basically have enough hooks to cover like my entire season next year. I do have one match coming up on October 6th, which actually kind of gets in the way of the fall SSF, which we'll talk about in a second. But the Match Anglers Club of Ontario United, that I've been doing the match fishing with the last year and now this year, the matches have been quite spaced out, and haven't really fit into a regular schedule, which there's been talk about putting it more on a schedule next year so people know in advance when all the matches are and what venues they'll be at. Everything's been kind of last minute, like we figured out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then we all go on the Sunday. But we have kind of like a end of the season kind of championship match happening, I believe, on October 6th. So if match fishing is something that you do and you just haven't gone to any of them, or you want to try it out, just go over to the Facebook page for the Match Anglers Club Ontario United and get your name in for the chance at a match in October. Last one of the season. I'm really hoping to do well, at least better than I have done. I'm more comfortable with shipping out the pole using the elastic. I've got a new long net handle, which I guess I also put away. The match fishing is tremendous fun. There's just something special about getting a float this small. Look at the size of that float. It's so tiny. And you know what? Actually, that one's even smaller. There's something special about fishing these tiny setups and tiny baits for really small fish that you would never normally catch, let alone see. I just found another pack of hooks that I forgot about. I know where I got those. Sorry, I was distracted very easily because I'm simple. It's tremendous fun doing these matches. You know, you got like 6 hours. You're stuck to a spot. You've got to figure out the best part about the water that's in front of you. And you've got so many opportunities for different types of rigging and rods. And like when I go to these matches, I have the pole now. I have usually 4 rods with me, like a little rod for a feeder, a rod for a waggler, one for like a bomb or something like that, you know, just the lead and whatnot. And then there's always the other one that is just like freelining potentially. Got to come up with something, right, to kind of make it all work. Let's see here. Okay, Doug, yeah, you're asking about the grips hooks. Carp Kit does have them, and they are in the clearance page. You can get them on a discount, so buy them all up. Galen's got to run. We'll see you all later, Galen. Go feed the baby, because I bet you that's what's happening. Yes, Carp Kit does have the grips hooks in the clearance page. Actually, you know what? I'll bring it right up, because the price, I was actually looking at them 2 nights ago, because I put in a little Carp Kit order for a few things, which we'll go over when they arrive, because I want to try something. That's not Carp Kit. That's the Canadian Carp Society. I went to the wrong bookmark. Okay, clearance. So the packs of grips hooks are currently in the clearance section. Let me log out so that I'm looking at everything the same way everybody else would see them. So I have my settings different. Grips hooks are on sale on the clearance page at carpkit.com for $6 a pack. That you're saving $3.75 per pack with them in the clearance section. So that's a good deal. And they also have the Palatrack Steam Link hook link material. That's on sale as well. Normally $22.99. That's currently on for $13.50. That's the hook link I used in the last video while I was using the Palatrack's hooks. That was impressive hook link. That the coating wasn't stripping or ripping and getting like the little breaks in it. None of that happened at all. It was really good stuff. So yeah, go check that out. It's good deals on that. It's just funny that I don't think I got everything just kind of mixed up. I recently did an order to Canadian Carp Club Shop, which I haven't ordered from in a while. But I often said before, if you want some of that stuff that's kind of just slightly different from the normal name brands, or stuff that, you know, is more budget friendly, quite often you can go to Canadian Carp Club Shop and find really good carp stuff to use at a more budget friendly price. Like when I was just getting into this, you know, I was just scraping by like everybody else to try and get through things to be able to buy gear and whatnot. And that shop made a big difference in me being able to get that starter equipment that I needed. So being able to buy from them was really, really helpful. And then as I upgraded the quality of my equipment, obviously the cost improved, but I was also improving my wage at work and whatnot. And I could then go to Carp Kit and buy that higher end equipment at the appropriate higher end price, with some more regularity. So I never rule out Canadian Carp Club Shop. They carry different things than Carp Kit does, but it's all for the same purpose. So like if you're somebody who loves CC Moore bait, they got you covered on CC Moore bait. They used to carry a lot of match fishing equipment back in the day, and there's still some remnants of the match fishing equipment on Canadian Carp Club Shop. I did find these some size 12 and 14 hooks with barbs on that site. I think What's the brand name of these? Sanger or something like that. So obviously it's European, but these are really tiny hooks too. Like, look at how tiny those are. Of course, it's bright. Really tiny, fine wire hooks. So, I can have some of my rigs tied with barbs, others with the grips, and then I'm covered. I did. Okay. There is a story behind this. Now, I do use DT baits. And since I joined the DT Baits Canada team, I have used nothing but DT baits for my carp fishing. I implement the pellets and the ground baits and sometimes the wafters into my match fishing as well. But I'm trying to whittle down like a 12 mil pop up to something like 8 mil and still get it to stay properly on the hook. You've taken away that hard protective outer part. It's not that easy. So I've been looking for like 8 mil pop-ups or wafters and whatnot. Canadian Carp Club shop carries CC Moore baits. I've used CC Moore baits in the past, and I've never had a complaint about a CC Moore bait except Northern Specials. I can't catch carp with Northern Specials. I don't know why. I've sat next to Will Machette using the same baits, and he will catch freaking 5 carp, and I won't get a sniff. I'll catch bass. I always catch bass and rudd on CC Moore or on Northern Specials. I can't say enough about Live System. One of the best baits I've ever used. If you want numbers of fish, that is a damn good bait. But because I don't have any DT baits that go down as small as 8 mil, I saw an opportunity to get some little 8 mil pop-ups that they had in multiple different colors, pinks and orange and yellow. And there's even some like black ones in there, some kind of like off-white. This I got strictly for the purpose of using in the matches. These are Northern Special 8 mil pop-ups. Really tiny little pop-ups. These are specifically for me to use with, whether it be the pellet feeders that I really like from Guru. I like their method feeders, like their hybrid feeders. They're really nice. But I've been finding that I really like these inline pellet feeders better, because I can just take like a little bit of paste on my thumb. Usually, like I'm making my own paste out of like ground up DT baits, pineapple or superfruit or peach and sour cream boilies, or soaking pellets, the same thing. And I just get a little bit on my thumb and shove it in there, and I'm using minimal amount of bait because I'm putting it in, taking it out really fast. When we're fishing like the Welland River, we're fishing channel cats. Well, I'm having to focus on channel cats because I can't seem to get the carp there like everybody else, but I'm getting the catfish more consistently. The more bait I put out, the less bites I'm getting. So a quick thumb of bait in there with a piece of corn or a worm, or maybe trying with these tiny pop-ups. I did get some of the catfish on the peach and sour cream bottom baits, but worm was the one that was doing it that day. But I couldn't get a bite if I didn't have that little thumbful of paste in the feeder, and it just I think it makes the bait stay in there a little bit better. So yeah, it's I got those little pop-ups to use with those feeders, or these little 10-gram cage feeders. Justin had made a few cage feeders, and I was using a slightly larger one of his that was really good to kind of just like wedge all the bait in there. I'm never really used cage feeders much, but Canadian Carp Club shop had these on for like, I think they were like $2 or $2.50 a piece, something like that. Little 10-grammers that I can use with the light rods. Grabbed them up. I think I grabbed up 4 or 5 of those with that last order. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've used CC Moore, and it's been a long time since I've used Northern Specials, but if this is what I need to give me the edge in those matches where I can start catching a little bit more carp consistently, then so be it. I know that the carp and the catfish respond really well to the DT Baits pellets and the paste that I make from the boilies, but my hook baits they always seem to be that little bit too big. So we're going to try that. Let's see what happens. Also, with my latest carp kit order, for those of you who've kind of paid attention over the last few years, you'll notice that I've been using, like, my fishing up on the St. Lawrence River, especially during the social, has really focused around the chod rig. Because usually going up in the spring, we don't have any weeds to deal with. When we did the Canada Carp Cup, we didn't have to deal with weeds. Ask Clint. He was there. He knows. You just didn't have to deal with weeds other than like drifting weed. So you could use whatever rig you wanted. We were catching fish. But when you go up in the fall, the weed is everywhere. And it's moving. And it's big rafts of it are drifting around. And I just started using the chod rig to be able to cast out anywhere I could see showing fish. And I started doing really well. So I had to get, I think I got these ones from Johnson Ross recently. Yeah, these came from Johnson Ross in the UK because Simon was out of the hook size that I need for the chods at Carp Kit. They still got chod rigs there, but they're smaller hooks. If I was fishing here, I would have used those ones. But because I'm going up to St. Lawrence, I like using the size 4 and the size 6. And the Corda long chod rigs are my preferred. Yeah, I got 3 packs of the long, 2 size 4s and a size 6. This is my preferred chod rig when I buy them pre-tied. If you go back, I think, to the YouTuber social, when we did the YouTubers match on the St. Lawrence with just a bunch of us Ontario YouTubers, I was using these, and the 21 or 22 pounder that I got during that social bent the hook out. I bent it back with a pair of pliers and had all the other fish on that same hook. These are good. The long ones are my favorite. Doesn't matter where I'm fishing. The long ones are what I prefer. The short ones are good. I've caught with a short, but there's just something about a long chod rig that I really like. It's almost like a stiff short zig. And if you want something that's even longer, you can actually go to, I always call it Kiam, but it's pronounced Kiam. Kiam Carp, our friend Toronto James, he ties up a longer chod than that. Based off of discussions that we had about fishing a long chod. You can actually buy his tied rigs right from his online store on his site. It's KIYAM Carp. So check that out if you're into long chods like I am. Just try it. Then we got a nice big package of lead core. This is actually Dave's. Dave said, "Hey, I need lead core. Let's get him a giant spool of lead core." I don't use lead core very much anymore. I like it, but I haven't been using it much. So, yeah, not much new stuff coming in because I've hardly fished this season. I'm pretty well stocked. My last session out was actually to the lower Niagara, and it's a 2-parter. Not 2 parts in terms of video, 2 parts in terms of the session. I did consecutive mornings, Saturday and Sunday morning. Saturday was rough, but it left me really appreciating the fact that I had a challenge in a new spot. Never fished carp there before. Something we should have done as a breakdown, and then I just kind of went and did it on my own. But I did film it. Everything happened. Like, when things were happening, they were happening so fast, I couldn't be on the rod and the camera and everything else all at the same time. And when it wasn't happening, it was just like the most peaceful I could have been on the bank on the lower river. I really, really appreciated those 2 sessions. So I do, when I find out where I put my camera bag and I get the SD cards off of the cameras, I do think I could put a pretty nice little video together out of that, because it was a challenge. I was going for a pretty specific target, and I think that target species was right there on me. A couple of commons did come to the net, but the target fish that I was after, I'm pretty sure they were there, and I missed my chance. So I do want to go back, but I don't think I'm going to go back and do another carp session there until next year. Primarily because as soon as I get back from the social and the fall SSF is over, my brain wants to catch a salmon. I haven't caught a fall run salmon in years. In fact, if you want to see the last fall run salmon I caught, which was maybe one of the last sessions for fall run salmon I did, you have to actually go back 10 years ago to some of the earliest videos we have on the channel. And there is me fishing the Niagara Whirlpool for Chinook salmon. One short video just talking about the tactic that I use with these great big wobbling plugs behind a 3-way swivel rig, just casting them out and fluttering it in the current. And I did get one, like a 17, 18 pound salmon. That was the last time I actually got a fall run salmon on camera, going out looking for it deliberately. After that, I just wasn't doing it. When we were filming with Goldie, we did try, I think 2 or 3 times the one season, and it didn't work. We tried a couple different places, but the best times to have activity were at night. Filming was very difficult to do. And the fish just didn't cooperate. So it just came to a point where, why waste the time doing that in the fall when I can fish carp right through all of the fall, right into the winter? I usually do my last carp session on New Year's Eve and my first carp session of the year on New Year's Day. So I could kind of like just skip the whole salmon run, not be shoulder to shoulder on the bank with people from Toronto and, coming down here to fish my local water and complain that I'm, taking pictures and video of my local water that they came to because of my video. I could skip all of that, the long hikes into the gorge and the shoulder to shoulder with, miserable city minded people. And I could actually just kind of enjoy my fishing and relax and go fish carp and catch a bunch in a session, sometimes really big ones, hopefully really big ones for the SSF. And we just didn't go back to it. And that then bled into my trout fishing, where I wasn't doing my trout fishing in the wintertime because I was still fishing carp in the wintertime. A lot of chatter with Dave. Him and I are both on the same page where we just really want to catch a fall run salmon. And Dave's actually been out a few times already. And I'm excited to get back out doing it. So much so that I actually dug out the old rods. So yeah, this one has an old big jig on it. I've had this rod out a couple times since that video. This is actually the rod and reel that I had that salmon on in that video 10 years ago. This is the Canadian Methods rod from Fenwick. It's 10.5 foot. It's like a medium light action. It's a really nice casting rod. Really good for bouncing, bottom bouncing with heavier rigs, casting, medium to almost heavy baits. I think this is just under a half ounce. I think it's like, yeah, it's like 3/8 ounce jig head. And it's a Shimano Corvallis reel. It's a Corvallis CVL 300. I've had this reel probably the better part of almost 20 years now. And this is still going as well as the day I bought it. It's a beautiful reel. But I got this out the other day, and I was looking at it, and I was just like, other than just needing some new line, because the old 18-pound P line that's on there, I'm down to about half a spool. So I'm really excited to actually get this back out and start casting some plugs around and wobbling some plugs in the flow. This rod, however, is the one that I use for the heavier gear. So this is a Shimano Claris rod. This is 8.5 feet long. It does have a pretty fast tip. So for a casting rod, it is a pretty fast tip, but that backbone kicks in about here. You can see that right in around here, and it's pretty stiff the rest of the way. This is what I love using for like casting heavy glow spoons, or if I want to start ripping big heavy rattle traps or rattling wraps. I love using lipless crankbaits for fall salmon. So it's a shorter, heavier rod than that 10.5, but together, using heavier lures here, medium to, pretty much medium setups there. I can kind of cover all the big basics before I start switching over to, the really light bottom bouncing and float fishing with the center pin and stuff like that I would more use for like browns and rainbows. And this is a reel that I completely forgot was here. It's technically not mine, but it's been in my house for probably 12, 14 years with the 7-foot baitcast rod that it was on. It's over in the rod rack. This reel and the other rod technically belong to Big Fish Angler Chad, but he left it here, and he doesn't do any of this style of fishing anymore. He pretty much just specifically trolls for on the Great Lakes for salmon and trout. So I'm adopting it. I am its new daddy. And this is a very classic Shimano baitcast reel. This is the Bantam Curado. This was like, when these came out, these were like everybody had to have one for their bass fishing. I think, if I remember right, and I usually do, this reel, he has another one. It's a white one, but it wasn't a Curado. It was something else. It was white and it was slightly bigger. And I thought the white one was one here. I guess it was this one. This one and the rod that it's on, he would have bought from Peter's Tackle from Peter. Peter, who passed on a number of years ago, who we definitely miss because Peter was awesome. Both of us got our first bait casters from him, and this would have been, I believe, Big Fish Angler Chad's second bait caster when we upgraded from the old Samsung ones that we were using to learn how to use bait casters. He upgraded to the Shimano Curado, and I upgraded to the Quantum 1310 MG series baitcast reel, which I also still use. It's on my 6.5-foot Fenwick HMG rod, just in the other room in the rod rack. So yeah, the baitcast equipment that we've got here and in the other room, this stuff has lasted a long time. These and the trout gear and stuff that we have, I'm still using, like the Fenwick rods that I'm using for bottom bouncing. I bought in 1997 and 1998, and I still use them. So here we are, a long ways down the road, and all this gear is still performing at the top level that it was performing when I got them, and it's very exciting. It's a rush, a little bit of a rush for me. Not only that Dave and I are going to go out and try and do some salmon and trout videos this fall, instead of just spending all our time sitting behind a kettle waiting for the 3 rods to rip off, which I love doing, don't get me wrong, but I kind of want to make fun of it right now because I'm missing out on really good opportunities that our region has to offer, and I want to get back out and try it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I got a big rush out of the fact that I can pull all these rods and reels off of the rod rests that they've been just sitting on collecting dust because I haven't been using them, and they're loyal, quality pieces of kit that I have had longer than I've had my child. Most of my fishing gear that I'm pulling out lately is older than my child, and some of it hasn't been used since before he was born, and he's a teenager. This gear needs to get back out in the world. You know what happens? I go out there, I hook a fish, one of the rods snaps. You know what? That's how it's meant to go. It needs that trip to Valhalla in violence. Dave Pendlebury, my Facebook is sending me memories from 12 and 14 years ago of me with a giant smile holding a salmon. Just need to scratch the itch. It's a serious itch this season. Really, really excited to get back out and do some trout and salmon fishing. The last few years we've done the birthday session specifically targeting trout. Last year I caught one to Dave's 7 or 8. He absolutely spanked me that day and then teased me about taking forever to make the coffee. Why are you dinging? Oh, it's Dave. Sorry, Dave, I'm not watching my messenger right now. I apologize. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I've just kind of lost my train of thought because that message went off. But it's a big itch to scratch when you haven't done something like that you used to get so excited about, and then you just decide, you know what, I'm doing it again. I miss the trout, I miss the salmon. The only thing I don't miss is the crowds. I don't miss being shoulder to shoulder with people that are pushy and usually have a bad attitude to other anglers being around them. You fish with the carp community, you've got your bad apples, but for the most part, the carp community is pretty awesome. You could set up next to another carp angler just simply after having a nice discussion and asking them if it was okay. You have a nice discussion with a trout angler and say, hey, do you mind if I fish this drift next to you? And they're going to have eye daggers coming at you like, no, you need to be 5 kilometers away from me. This is my water. Different groups, different types of mentalities for the type of fishing. Yeah, I think the toughest part of the fishing our region is that it's so popular that people will drive 2-3 hours to come down here and fish this water. So they want to have a spot to fish. It's a long drive for them to make. I drive 5 minutes and I'm in the same spot, but I'm the one getting, told off because I'm in that spot and that's where they want to fish. And they just drove 3 hours to do it. Well, you know what? Drive down during the week when I'm not there. That's all. I live here, my spot. How has everybody else's fishing been? I've been rambling for an hour. Who else has been out? We know Clint's going out tomorrow. We know Doug is thinking about being out right now, but he's probably not. Who's actually been out and had some good results? Tim, have you been out at all? Drazen, have you been out? Haven't seen many posts from you in the on the site, so I'm curious. Have you been out at all? I know you were fishing with the Fat Boys, Dave Newman and them. I know you were out with them for a while. How you guys have all been getting on? did get out with Dave, and it's slow. You know what? There's been a few people that I've been seeing posting lately that said that, certainly on the carp side of things, fishing has been really slow. Um, I can't really have an opinion on that because I've not been out enough. But when I've been out, I've actually been having like a lot of runs on my sessions. I have been fishing relatively new spots. Like my last 4 carp sessions were in 2 spots that I hadn't fished before those sessions at all. I did recently get out with my good buddy Jan. It was really nice to have an after work session with him. I just knocked something over with my feet. Yeah, we went back to where we filmed the Grips hook video, and he had a bunch of runs, and I ended up getting a run right after dark, and it turned out to be a big catfish that came off just before we put it in the net. But still, like, even though it's been tough fishing for a lot of people, I'm going out and still getting 7-8 runs in a short session. So even though I'm not necessarily landing them and doing well, probably because I'm rusty, I'm not having trouble getting the runs. Yeah, eat more McDonald's. I have no trouble getting the runs. Yeah, I'm getting takes. I'm getting liners. I'm getting a lot of activity. I definitely know that I'm getting on fish. The last session in particular on the lower river, I really had trouble hooking them and getting them to net. I lost like a mid-20 right at the net, and I was so gutted because it was the biggest fish I had seen all day. And it was like after a long spell of like no activity. It was a big fish. I'm guessing it was mid-20s. I got it within about 10 feet of the net. Another 2-3 seconds would have had it. But I was fighting the current with it as well, and it just turned its head and off it went. Too much weed around. Yeah, I can see that. There's a couple spots that I went to where they were just completely choked out with weed, but I don't know. The way I've been fishing the last few years, I see a little pocket in the weed, and it's just like, I'm going to get one there. So I still go at it, but oh, I see. Okay, it's driving me nuts. I just knocked over the wastebasket. That's all. Who else is getting out? Anybody? Hopefully things will pick up for the fall for everybody who is struggling lately this summer. With the fall SSF coming up just in like a couple weeks, we know that you're going to have that fall wave of big fish push in, but we should also hit into some really good numbers. You know, the heat waves are gone. Excuse me. The heat waves are gone. We were getting some really big storms. We did actually have another tornado touchdown just to the western side of Niagara Falls last week. It was just insanity. We never used to get tornadoes around here, and that's like 3 of them within 10 kilometers of my house in the last like 6 weeks. But the you know, with the weather settling a little bit more, being a little bit more stable, we're getting much cooler nights and kind of warm days. I really do think that the carp are going to switch on, and we're going to have an absolutely insane October for carp. I really do. Tim, I'm 11 hours into a session, had 6 or 8 carp and a couple of cats, biggest 17 pounds. Well, that's a good session. 11 hours, you've had that many fish. You know, so it sounds like you have had 10 or 12 fish. You might not be getting the size, but you're having a good smash up. That's for sure. About a fish an hour. Oh my God, my allergies are really kicking in all of a sudden. Sorry about that. Drazen, I've always have more fish from the end of September till November, December. Yeah, usually the fall is much better for numbers. I agree. But I don't know. Something tells me that this fall is going to be one to remember. If people are getting out on the bank, they're going to have much more fish than normal. A few years back, there was the one fall in particular that we had. Dave and I did the 2 videos fishing with the center pin for carp. I think this was back. It might have still been the 1 rod rule. I don't think we had gone up to multiple rods yet, or maybe we were just doing 1 rod because we only had 1 center pin each. But when we did those center pin videos, that was in like mid-October, and those days were just insane. Those were like 20 fish days, and the whole month was like that year. So I think we're overdue. I think we're really overdue for just an insane smash up kind of October. And I think we are going to see some really big fish come out from surprising places. I think the people we normally see produce like a couple of 30-pounders in the fall, I think that's going to continue. But I think what we're going to see is some people who don't normally produce those big fish. I think 1 or 2 of them are going to kick out something special this fall, and it's just going to be like a wow, where did that come from kind of deal. Like mid to high 30s to people that don't normally catch fish over 20 pounds. I just have a feeling that that's what we're going to see this October. So yeah, I can't say this enough. If you are a Canadian Carp Society member, there's still time to sign up for the fall SSF. Get your name on the solo board if you're going to be fishing alone. Even if you're only going to get out for 1 session, just get your name on the board. You cannot believe just how well 1 well-planned hour on the bank during that 10 days could make such a difference for where you are on the leaderboards. You just need 3 fish to enter if you're solo. If you're going as a team, you got 2 other people and you're doing a 3-person team, you're going to be up for some stiff competition. We do have already signed up for the fall some really good teams. Terra Carp is a team that has done very well in the SSF this year. They're in it. Dave Thorpe Canada. So basically that's 3 members of DT Baits Canada that have formed a team. Team Corn Walrus. That is a very popular team that has done very well in previous SSFs. And the Corn Stars. They are also in it. There is 1 other team. Okay. There's some stiff competition in here with those 4 teams I just mentioned. Really, really good anglers, known for catching big fish quite consistently. Let's remember the Corn Stars had a 40-pounder entered into the 1 SSF this year. I think it was the spring. But there's 1 other team. That's the team I'm on. I have teamed up with Nathan, who you will remember from Improved Carp Angling, and I fished with him on the island that we did the video of this spring. So everybody loves Nathan. And if you guys watch the channel, actually, Andrew, Nathan, Andrew, and I have teamed up together to form a team called the Donkey Smacking River Titans. And we are going to make sure that those other 4 teams that are entered so far, and any other teams that join up between now and the cutoff date for the sign up for the SSF, we are going to make sure you guys have some tough competition. If you like friendly competition, you like the challenge of fishing against other anglers, and you're a member of the Canadian Carp Society, sign up for the SSF. If you go the solo route, you're up against a lot of really quality anglers. You need to kick out 3 fish for yourself. Doesn't matter where, how big they are. If you enter 3 10-pounders, that's 30 pounds you have on the leaderboard. That could be 10 pounds more than 5 other people, right? It's not always about finishing first. Sometimes it's just about beating your buddy. Just getting an idea of where you can fall in that leaderboard is sometimes that push you need to put the stakes up a little bit and try a new spot, try a new bait, try a new rig. What do you need to do to change your fishing to move up that leaderboard in the next run of SSF events? So if you're fishing the solo division, you got to come up with 3 fish yourself. Can be hard, can be easy, lots of room to upgrade. If you're fishing as a team, it's you and 2 other anglers. Each angler only submits their biggest fish. So the pressure's on to get something massive, but you only have to do 1 fish. So it's a little bit easier. One thing that I really do love about, our SSF events is, and it particularly happens mostly with the team events, but we get a lot of friendly smack talk going in our general feed on the site. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun seeing one team call out another team to try and be that friendly competition. Let's have at it. You guys only catch these small fish. One of the guys posted a fish that I had this big that I was fishing with when I was pole fishing at 9 meters in 7 inches of water. So I had these tiny carp. That video is coming soon. He posted up that picture that he got off my Instagram, and it's like, oh, if the donkey smacking river titans are catching fish this size, we don't have any problem to worry about. That kind of banter is so much fun. It's so much fun. I can't express enough just how much that makes me want to get that big fish. I want to beat them by half a pound. I don't want to be 10, 20, 30 pounds past our next competition. I want to scrape by them and take that spot by such a small margin that it's just like, oh, we almost had it, but we didn't. You know what I mean? It's the friendly competition you can have with the SSF is absolutely amazing. And the way the interactions are driven on the site just add that whole other element of fun to it. So please, if you are a member or if you're thinking of becoming a member, just doing 3 SSF events a year makes it worth it. Absolutely. Drazen, did you fish in Peterborough this year? I did not fish Peterborough this year. I was in Peterborough. I did visit Peterborough. That's where my sister lives. And I was visiting Galen briefly. I did fish north of Peterborough on an island in the spring, up past Lakefield. But I did not fish Peterborough this year. I was hoping that I could work something out to go up and fish in October, but I don't know what it is about Peterborough, but like all your hotels are completely booked for like from now to December. What the hell happens in Peterborough that all the hotels they have are like almost completely booked? I thought that was pretty weird. With the social happening right now, the SSF event, my wife does theater and she has a show in October. There's a lot going on, and I didn't realize that with all of that happening, plus the fact that I work every other weekend, I don't think I'm going to get a chance to go to Peterborough after all. I was talking to Galen from ONT Carping because I really want to go up there and fish with him. Because my sister lives there and I can go see my niece and nephew, and my sister, I guess. there's a really good opportunity for me to do like a father-son trip with my son and take him up, and we can go spend time with family and a little bit of time on the bank with friends. I was really hoping I could make a weekend out of that. As it stands right now, kind of working things out with my wife about, I help her set up for her stage and theater stuff like that, because she writes them and directs them and all that. There's certain help with like props, and sometimes there's filming elements and stuff like that. So I do help her as much as I can to make sure she has what she needs for her theater stuff, which is a big production. And they do that every year to raise money for whatever charitable cause through the Lions Club. Sometimes it's like seeing eye dogs for people. Other times it's like children's charities. So with what she does with that theater stuff, it's very important. And I try to make sure that I can help when I can. So all of a sudden, when we were sitting there looking at the calendar, I'm like, hey, I want to go do this up in Peterborough for a weekend. Where can I fit this in? And it was just like, well, there's like this day you can do it, but I need your help this day. So if I can get to Peterborough at all, it might be like a last minute thing, without really much planning. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try and make time to do it in the spring, because I'm not going to lie. I watched the video recently. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Will Machette did a video fishing with Galen, where they did, Galen's typical underwater stuff with Will's typical Will fishing. That was such a great video. You can check it out on Will Machette's channel. The two of them together, pairing up the way the two of them do things, Galen with his underwater, Will with the way he fishes and kind of talks you through everything that's going on. That was a very enjoyable video to watch, and it was very entertaining to see. And I'm not going to lie, I was very jealous that he got there first, because Galen and I have been talking about doing that for years, and we haven't done it yet. And I saw what I thought was going to be an opportunity for October. Now it doesn't look like it, which sucks. But now more than ever, I want to make that team up happen, because I saw Will do it and I saw how much fun that was, and I was smiling through the entire video. And yes, I'm very, very jealous of that, and I want to see that. I want to see that team up happen between me and ONT Carpin. I want to try and drag Dave out to that, because I think if you couple my excitement with Galen's excitement and Dave's very contagious giggle, I think that's going to make for one hell of a funny video. So we're going to have to make that work out. Oh, look who showed up. LP popped into the live stream. An hour and 13 minutes late. Good job. He's on Quebec time. That's what it is. It's like noon on Friday there right now. Tim, do you miss the one rod rule? I always admired how well you guys did with just one rod. I'm actually doing this session with one rod and barbless. It's an awesome challenge. That's a tricky question. It's one that I actually thought about recently. I don't miss the one rod rule. I don't. And I think the reason I don't miss it is because with me learning and dipping into this match fishing side of things, I can only use one rod. So seeing how poorly I'm doing in the matches in terms of catching carp on a consistent basis, I don't miss that at all. I really like sitting behind 2 or 3 rods. When I did my lower river session recently, I only went with 2 rods. I didn't use 3. I had the 2 12-footers out with the Shimano bait runners that I have. it was nice sitting just behind two. It really was. But doing the match fishing, when we've been fishing on like the Welland River in a couple of these venues where, bigger carp, 10, 12 pounds and up are kind of what your target is. Here I am using one rod, using my normal carp tactics, and not getting a bite. The same thing I did before we went to the multi-rod rule, where I was catching quite consistently in locations that I had fished back then and caught. Now I'm not. So something has changed with the way I'm presenting everything with one rod that I'm missing. So I don't miss the one rod rule. I think Ontario certainly really has benefited from the multi-rod rule. I think you're seeing more anglers trying new things, because it's a lot easier to experiment when you put one rod out with what you know or what you're confident in, and then you put one rod out with something that you've never tried before, and then it works, and there's that rush. So I think you've got a lot more anglers challenging themselves with the multi-rod rule. But I'm still getting my fix in just fishing with one rod every now and then and trying to figure things out. So yeah, I'm quite glad. I don't miss the one rod rule at all. I'm still not really a fan of barbless, but these grips hooks have kind of changed my mind on that a little bit, and I'm looking forward to using them more, because that was kind of nice during that session when we did that video. Here we are technically using barbless hooks on a crazy venue where fish fight really hard. They spin around back and forth in the current. They go out in the flow, then come right back at you. It's very quick to get slack line, and the fish stayed on. So I'm glad you're having an awesome time with one rod barbless hooks. Yeah, I'm still getting to do that with the matches to a certain extent. So I think there's still a place every now and then to just go out and put one rod out. You don't always have to have three, but man, when you can put three out and only one of them is kicking off and it's not the one you thought it would be, it really gives you that opportunity to think about what you did differently on that rod versus the other two. I think it's helping anglers grow their skill set a little bit better. That's my opinion on it. LP was in the woods. Oh yeah, you're getting ready for hunting season, aren't you? LP, are you going to be popping in and making a surprise visit at the social, or are you just going to stay hidden in Quebec? Let me guess, you can't get away from work either. Come on, people. You guys all had time. You knew what time to book off. You all could have made it. I got another question for people. I don't know how much longer we're going to be running today, because I do have a lot of running around. One of the things I do have to do is go to the tackle shop. I do need to get up to Peter's Tackle and get a few things. I need some line and some other stuff for the salmon fishing. But I do have a question. Did anybody yet this year, or coming up this fall, has anybody done anything that they hadn't done before? Did anybody else, just since we were just talking about with the multi-rods there, has anybody tried something new this year that they didn't typically do in their fishing? What was the result? Or do you are you planning on doing something new coming up, for the fall sessions? What is something new that you've either done this year or are about to do that you're looking forward to? I'm curious. For me this year was the pole fishing, fishing at 9 and 10, 13 meters with these tiny little floats and elastic. My God, what a rush. What an absolute rush. Recently had a session as well with Justin from the Match Club where we went out using just feeders and the feeder rods. And that was a real challenge. We did film it. I'm not sure what came about from the footage because he outfished me again. But he did fall down an embankment trying to set the hook because he almost lost his rod. So there could be something funny there. Tim, we've been fishing. We've been able to use 3 for about 10 years, but I usually fish 2. Yeah, I've been finding that since the 3-rod rule came about, there are a lot of people that only fish 2 or only fish. They prefer to fish 2. Like I said, down on the lower river, I only fished with 2. Those last 2 sessions I did, primarily because the location I was in, 3 rods would have been pretty insane. Because there was a couple times I had multiple runs, and if you throw a third one in the mix, at least one of those fish is not coming in. You know, you're fishing flow, deep water, about 25, 30 yards down the bank, downstream from me was a tree laying in the water. And if you go the same distance upstream, another tree. I was in a really tight spot. So sometimes it's just better to go down to 2 than take the risk with 3. I like that we can use 3, but a person, an angler has to have that sense of what their skill level is, what the venue offers, and what's smart and beneficial to both the angler and the fish at the time. And if 2 makes you comfortable, that's the best. Anybody do anything new? If we don't have anything pop up as far as that question goes, I'm going to leave that question with you guys until the October live stream. That's something that I'm going to keep asking for the rest of the fall. I think I want to hear the stories of what people are doing that's new, that took them out of their comfort zone, that had good results, that had bad results. I'd like to get that interaction in the chat between now and the end of the year. So we have a couple more live streams to happen this year. Let's keep that theme going of who did something new, something challenging, something that I hadn't tried before. Let's get some conversations going about that. You know, if you're not here watching us live and you're watching this video after the fact and you want to throw a comment in the comment section, let's keep that going. We can talk about it in next month's live. What new thing have you done this season in your fishing that had good results or bad results? You know, tell us a little story. Tell us what that was. What new thing? What challenge did you push yourself to this year? Because I think as anglers, we have to do that. You know, there's nothing wrong with being that angler that just, you know, goes out, wets a line, and enjoys being out. But being that angler that really pushes for growth and trying to accomplish something beyond just being out, you know, tries to get that target fish or that target size or that target species. I think it's really important to the growth of angling as a whole to just always be pushing your boundaries and trying something new and pushing your skill set. So yeah, throw a comment in the chat while you're in here now or in the next ones that we do. If you can't make the lives, throw them in the comment section, and you know we'll be able to look back on that and bring them up for next month, and we'll bring that up as a topic of discussion. Now the live for October. Let me just bring up my calendar. So the live for October should be on October 12th, second Saturday of the month, like we try to stick to. That is right in the middle of the fall SSF for the Canadian Carp Society. It starts, I believe the 4th and goes to the 14th, something like that. I do expect to be fishing that day because it's the SSF, and I have a team that I cannot let down. So, because I should most definitely be fishing that day, because I'm very limited during that 10-day span of what days I can actually get on the bank. The 6th, I'm doing the match, which is the first weekend. The Saturday, the 5th, I work. So, the Saturday of that Thanksgiving weekend, I'm definitely going to be off work, but I should most definitely be on the bank. So where I'm going to be is a location I had a 35-pounder that same week last year, and backed it up with I think a couple of 29s and 28s. Dave and I had probably the 3 best consecutive sessions in a row that we've ever had. The number of fish that we put together was just stupid. It was we probably had 50 or 60 fish over the course of 3 days, and it was just like short morning sessions that we topped out with a 35-pounder. So not only will I most definitely be on the bank that day, I should be able to have enough of a signal. We'll probably test it out prior, but we should have the live stream on the bank that day, and there should most definitely be fish coming in for that live stream. Whatever I got to do, I'm going to try and make sure that I can, I don't know, maybe I can get like a signal booster or something like that just to make it work. It's not an out of the way spot, but there's a lot of rock and tree around where it is, so the signal is sometimes tricky. We've done the live streams there before, and it's gone just fine for like a half an hour, cut out for 2 seconds, and then started again. But we should be good. So October 12th will be the October live stream date. Like that day is like my best day to be on the bank for that whole week. So I'm like 98.9% sure that the next live stream will be from the bank, absolutely hauling in the hogs. The donkey smacking River Titans are going to win this SSF. That is the objective. But for now, it's Saturday, just coming up on 1:30. I have a lot of running around to do, and I can hear the child has awoken. The teenager is done sleeping in for half of his day. We're going to head up to Peter's Tackle, pick up a few things that we need. I'm going to go take a look at a couple locations. I have some other things I have to pick up for the organization of the fishing gear. I'm trying to get all of my equipment organized so that I can actually sit down on my couch, because I can't. So yeah, thank you all for popping into the chat, keeping it going. LP, Drazen, Tim, Big Doug, Galen, saw Clint in there, Dave in there. All of you, thank you for popping into the chat and keeping the chat going through the live. Always great to see you guys in there. Clint, best of luck tomorrow. Again, I'm telling you right now, I want to see pictures. Let me know how well you do, because I won't be fishing, and that will give me my fix if I see that you're doing well. All of you, keep in mind, think about what kind of challenges you've stuck to yourself for this season or upcoming. Let's talk about that a little bit more in the next few live streams. Throw stuff in the comments if you want. Dave and I have been talking. We do have a pretty good pile of videos put together that we just have to edit and get out to you through the season. So we should have a good run of videos to carry us through the winter. But right now we're going to be switching gears very soon over to salmon and trout, so that we can also make videos for that part of our audience that really does well on the channel. The trout videos do really well for us, and sometimes that part of our audience kind of gets left to the side because we do so much carp fishing. So we both have that itch to scratch for the salmon and trout. We're gonna push it this year and try and put some quality content together for that group in our audience. Thank you all for tuning in again, hanging out with us. We will see you next month. Drazen, you have a good weekend as well. Tim, you take care also. Great to see you all. Tim, I hope you get a donkey on that session that you're on. If not, I hope you just get another 30 fish in the next hour. Let's just see everything switch into insanity mode. We'll see you guys all October 12th from the bank during the SSF. It should be freaking insane. Should be awesome. If I blank that day during the live stream, I don't know what we're going to do. Blame the government. We'll come up with some stupid reason. We should have that spot on fire, and the fish should be just absolutely bonkers that day. So we'll see you then.